Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. On today's video tutorial, guys, we are going to be going through the grade 12 mathematics literacy paper 1 that was written in November 2021. In this video tutorial, guys, we are going to be going through question 3.1, and in question 3.1, guys, we are going to be interpreting information that is given to us in table 3, right? We are going to be calculating the mean, and we're also going to be calculating probability, right? So before you get started with today's video tutorial, guys, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure that you click on that notification bell so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video tutorial, guys. And also don't forget to share this video tutorial with your friends. Another thing that's also important, guys, please don't forget to also like this video tutorial, because that really helps the channel grow and it helps the channel reach more learners that want to better their mathematics marks. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's video tutorial. Alright guys, so like I mentioned in today's video tutorial, we are going to be going through question 3.1, and like I said, we are basically going to be using this table that is given to us, and we are going to be answering questions based on table 3. Okay. South Africa is in the middle of a potentially wet season as heavy rainfall continued to fall over large parts of the country, thus improving the country's water situation. So we're having heavy rainfall over large parts of the country, and this is improving the country's water situation. And we were told that table 3 shows the full storage capacity and the dam levels as a percentage of the full storage capacity in different provinces in South Africa on the 5th of April 2021. The dam level readings are taken on the same day each week, right? So we've got table 3 here, and we are told that table 3 represents the dam levels in the different provinces on the 5th of April 2021, right? We're given the 9 provinces, right? Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, Northern Cape, and the Western Cape. And we are given the net full storage capacity in million cubic meters for these provinces, right? So how do we basically read these values? In the Eastern Cape, the net full storage capacity is 1,823,000 cubic meters. In Free State, it's 15,657 cubic meters. In Gauteng, it's 128 million. 128. Yeah. Okay, in Gauteng, it's 128 million cubic meters, right? In KwaZulu-Natal, it's 4,784 cubic meters, right? And so on and so forth. So that is basically how we are going to read that first column, right? We are given this week the percentage of the full storage capacity. For Eastern Cape is 55%, Free State 100%, Gauteng 100%, KwaZulu-Natal 73%, so on and so forth. And the full storage capacity in a percentage for last week, for the Eastern Cape it's D, so we need to calculate that. Free State it's 99%, Gauteng 101%, KwaZulu-Natal 73%, so on and so forth. And last year, the full storage capacity percentage for the Eastern Cape is 56%, 77% for Free State, 101% for Gauteng, and so on and so forth. So basically, that is how we are going to basically read this table that is given to us, right? So let's have a look at the questions. Question 3.1.1 says use table 3 to answer the questions that follow. So we're going to use the table, right? This table, and we're going to answer questions that are given to us, right? First question says that determine the date on which the reading of the dam levels was taken last week, right? So we're going to focus on the column that has last week, okay? And we want to determine the dates in which these dam level readings were taken, right? We are given very important information here as we were busy reading this paragraph here, right? We were told that the dam level readings are taken on the same day each week, right? So if this week, right, the dam level readings were taken on the 5th of April 2021, right? When were the dam readings taken last week? So we need to go back 7 days, because a week has 7 days, right? Okay, we need to go back 7 days to then determine when the date was that the dam level readings was taken last week. So how do we do that? A quick way in which we can do this so that we do not make any silly mistakes, right? We're just gonna basically count 7 days. I'm gonna use this to count so it makes it easier. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's gonna be 8. You'll see why I put the 8 there, right? So on the 5th of April, right? On the 5th of April 2021, that is when the dam level readings were taken for basically this week. We need to go back how many days? 7 days back, right? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see why I made 8 there, right? And then we basically going to go back, right? In terms of the days of the month. So it's going to be the 4th of April, the 3rd of April, the 2nd of April, the 1st of April, okay? And then what is the month that comes before April? It's March. And what is the last day of the month for March? It's the 31st, right? So 31st of March, right? The 30th of March and the 29th of March, right? So what can we deduce from this? We can deduce that then the dam level readings last week was therefore taken on the 29th of March 2021, right? So that is basically your final answer. And please note, guys, the additional explanation that I've just made there is so that you guys understand what is going on. You don't really have to do it if you really understand what's going on. But then yeah, so it's just for explanation purposes, right? So let's go on to the next question. Question 3.1.2 says that write down in words the actual value of the net fuel what do I say? Full storage capacity for Gauteng, right? So we're gonna go back to our table 3, right? And we're gonna look at the column that tells us about the net full storage capacity. So it's this column. And this question wants to find out what is the actual net full storage capacity for Gauteng. So we're gonna focus our attention on what? On Gauteng. And we can see that it's 128 million cubic meters, right? So we're gonna write down that value in words, all right? So let's just write down that value in words. So it is 128 million cubic meters, all right? So that is basically the actual value of the net full storage capacity for Gauteng. Okay, next question, 3.1.3, identify the province with the third lowest dam level percentage for last year, right? So we're going to basically focus our attention on the column that gives us information about the percentage levels of the dams for last year, right? So we're going to focus our attention on the last year's column, okay? And we need to basically determine the province with the third lowest dam level percentage for last year. So how do we do this, right? A way in which you can basically arrange your data so that you're able to basically determine which value is the third lowest is that you basically need to arrange this data in descending order, right? You don't really have to write down all these values. All you need to do is write the first 3 values in descending order, and the third value that you get will be the lowest dam level percentage for last year, right? So now let's just do that. Let us arrange this data in descending order, but not actually having to write down all these values, by just writing down the first 3 and then get what is the third one that is the lowest, right? I hope I didn't lose anyone there. Okay, so let's just do that. Let us arrange this in descending order. Guys, please remember, descending order is from the lowest to the highest, right? So what is the lowest percentage for last year, right? So the lowest percentage is the 40%. So that is going to be our first one, okay? Okay, what is the second lowest né? The second lowest, you can see that, okay, it's 56%. And then what is the third lowest, right? So we basically have a look at your data here, and then we see that, okay, the third lowest is KwaZulu-Natal with 61%. Therefore, what does this tell us? So the province with the third lowest dam level percentage for last year is KwaZulu-Natal, okay, with a percentage of 61%, okay? So you can also write that as KZN. Okay, that is fine. Next question, question 3.1.4. Determine which province had the highest percentage increase, okay, the highest percentage increase in dam levels from last year to this week. So we're gonna go to our table 3, okay. We're gonna focus on the information given the information that is given in the column that has the last year's percentage, and we're going to focus on the information given in the column that has this week's full storage capacity in percentage, right? Okay, so last year and this week, and we're going to check, okay, which province had the highest increase from last year to this week, right? So we're going to go from last year to this week, right? So we can see that last year for Eastern Cape, the dam level percentage was 56%, but then this week it's 55%. So we can see that, okay, for the Eastern Cape, it actually decreased by 1%, okay? So we're not going to include that because we're looking for the province that had a highest percentage increase. So we're not gonna consider Eastern Cape. Then we go to the Free State. We see that, okay, with the Free State, last year it was 77%, but then this year it is what? 100%. So we can see that now this had an increase of 23%, okay? Then we go to Gauteng. Gauteng was 101% last year, and then this year was 100%. So there was a decrease of 1%, so we're not going to consider that. Then we had KwaZulu-Natal. Last year it was 61%, and then this year it was 73%. So it has an increase of 12%. How do we get the increase, guys? It's merely 73 minus 61, and that will give you 12%. Then we go to the Limpopo province. Last year it was 70%. This year it increased to 88%. So we can see, okay, there was an increase of 18% for Limpopo. Then Mpumalanga, okay, last year it was 75. This year it was 89. Right? So we can see that, okay, there was an increase of 14%. Okay, guys, apologies. They're busy cutting the grass, and I have to continue with the video. So if you hear a bit of a noise, please understand that, yeah, it's the situation. Okay. Then we basically go to the Northwest, right? Last year it was 71%, and then this year it was 82%. So we had an increase of 11%. Northern Cape, last year it was 95%. This year is 102%. So it had an increase of 7%. And lastly, Western Cape, last year it was 40%. This year it was 52%. So we had an increase of 12%. So from here, guys, we are just going to look for the highest value, right? And then that is going to basically be the province that had the highest percentage increase. Okay, so from here, guys, we can see that, okay, our highest value is the Free State. Okay, the highest value is the Free State because it had a percentage increase of 23% from last year to this year, and it is the highest percentage, right? Therefore, that is our answer. Okay, please note that you can just write your answer as Free State. Next question. Question 3.1.5 says we need to calculate the missing value D if the mean percentage storage capacity for last week was 83%. Right. So yeah, guys, we are basically calculating the mean. Right. So yeah, guys, we are basically going to be using the formula that we use when we calculate the mean to be able to get what the value of the D is. Okay, so what do we know, guys, before we can even just go back to table 3 and just have a look at what we basically need to do? Let's just recap on how we calculate the mean, right? So the mean, guys, is equal to the sum of the values, right? So the sum of all these values, I'll call it X, divided by the number of values that are in the data set, right? So the mean is equal to the sum of the values that we are basically given in the data set, and you divide it by the number of values in the data set. So I'll call that n, right? So how can we basically use this formula to help us get the missing value of d? So let's just go back to our table 3, okay? Here we know that we have to basically calculate this missing value d, right? And we are told that the mean percentage storage capacity for last week was 83%. And I just told you guys that to get the mean, you basically sum up all the values and you divide it by the total number of values that are in the data set. So let's just do that. So we're going to take your d, right? So it's going to be d plus 99 plus 101 plus 73 plus 88 plus 89 plus 82 plus 105 plus d, right? So that is what we're going to write now, okay? And we need to divide it by the total number of values that are in the data set. So how many values do we have in this data set? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. So that is basically how we're going to calculate our d. But we are also told that the mean, right, for last week was 83%. So we're already given that mean there, right, which is 83% is equal to that d plus 99 plus 101, right? And then what's left for us to do here, guys? We are basically going to solve this equation for d, right? So if you sum up all these values, right, d plus d gives us how many? Gives us 2d, okay? Plus 99 plus 101 plus 73 plus 88 plus 89 plus 82 plus 105. If you add all those values up, you'll get 637 divided by 9 is equal to your 83%. Okay, that is also in percentage, right? And then you're just going to solve for the d. So 83 times it by 9. Okay, 83 multiplied by 9. Why am I multiplying by 9? Because I want to get rid of the 9 that side, and to get rid of that you need to multiply by 9 over 1, and it cancels on that side. And what you do on the right hand side you need to do on the left hand side. So you also need to multiply by 9 over 1. 9 over 1 is the same as saying 9, which is equal to 2d plus 637, right? Take the 637 to this other side. But before we do that, 83 times it by 9 is 747, okay, which is equal to 2d plus 637, okay? And then you're going to basically minus. I'm going to do the additional work here, right? So it's going to be 747 minus 637 is equal to 2d, right? And if you divide by 2 and you divide by 2, you'll find that your d is equal to 55%. Okay, so that is basically how we basically solve for our d, right? So we know now that the value there for d is equal to 55% because we've calculated it. And we also know that the d here is also equal to 55%. It's already in percentage, so I actually don't have to write the percent. So it's actually 55%. 55%, and we have basically solved this question. Okay, next question 3.1.6 says determine as a fraction the probability of randomly selecting a province with dam levels exceeding 100% for both this week and last week. What's important here is that and there, right? That and there is very important. But before we get started with the and, how do you calculate probability? Probability is equal to, guys, your favorable outcomes, so the outcomes that you want, over the total outcomes that are basically given. So now how do we basically apply this formula of probability to this question? We want to basically select a province with dam levels that exceed. What does exceed mean? That is goes over, right, 100%. So dam levels that are more than 100% for both this week and last week. So we're gonna go back to our table 3. Okay, we're gonna focus on this week, and we're also going to focus on last week. Okay, so in this case, guys, what are our favorable outcomes? We want the probability of selecting a province with dam levels that exceed 100%, right? And when those dam levels exceed 100%, they need to exceed 100% for both this week and last week. So this week's value and last week's value, both of those values need to exceed 100%, right? So let's have a look at the table and let's look for those values. So let's look for values that exceed 100% for both this week and last week, right? So that is 55 and 55, so it's not exceeding. 199, that is not exceeding for both of them. 101, right? So this is exceeding, but for only one of those values. So we need both of them to exceed 100%. So we can't say it's 100 and 100. We can't say that 100 is exceeding 100 because it is equal to 100. We want values that are more than 100, right? 73 and 73, it's not exceeding. 88 and 88 is not exceeding. 89 and 89 is not exceeding. 82 and 82, not exceeding. 102 and 105, both of these are exceeding 100. 102 is more than 100. 105 is also more than 100. And both of them exceed 100. So therefore, that is our favorable outcomes that we are basically looking for, right? So what are our favorable outcomes? It's going to be 1 and 2, right? 2 over what are the total outcomes, okay? The total outcomes is how many outcomes we have in this experiment. And we see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 total outcomes. Okay, therefore, if you simplify this, 1 goes into itself once and it goes into 18 9 times. Therefore, the probability of randomly selecting a province with dam levels exceeding 100% for both this week and last week is 1 over 9, right? Please make sure that you do not make this silly mistake, right? So someone might actually think that the probability of randomly selecting a province with dam levels exceeding 100% for both this week and last week is actually 3 over 18, right? Someone might actually think it's 3 over 18, but why is this incorrect, right? Why is it not 3 over 18? Okay, let's go back to our table. Okay, why would a person think it's 3 over 18? Because therefore, Gauteng, that 101, you might think that, oh, okay, because that 101 exceeds 100%. So I'm just going to count that, and I'm going to count this, and I'm going to count that, and it's just going to be 3 over 18, right? So the favorable outcomes is just 3 over 18. But this is wrong, because what do we realize about Gauteng, right? We realize that with Gauteng for this week, that value there does not exceed 100%. And our information stipulates that it needs to exceed 100% for both this week and last week. So because both of them are not exceeding 100%, we cannot take that 101 into consideration, right? So if you do that 3 over 18, your answer is going to be wrong, right? Because that is not how you're supposed to do it, right? So I hope that I clarified that there and you're aware of this mistake, right? So if it says and, right, you need to basically look for an intersection, right? And in this case, it was only, okay, we only saw that intersection only happened in Northern Cape. We're both for this week and for last week, we had values that were exceeding 100%. Okay, question 3.1.7. Calculate in meters cubed or cubic meters the actual net full storage capacity for our Free State for last week. So we want the actual net full storage capacity for last week. So we're going to go back to our table 3 and we're going to focus on last week's the last week's values. Okay, and we're going to focus on the Free State province, right? So we already know that for Free State, the net full storage capacity, right, the in million cubic meters is 15657 or 50,657,000, right? That is the net full storage capacity, right? And then we know for the last week that the percentage in which that dam was full was 99%. So all we need to do now, we need to basically convert that 99% into an actual value considering the net full storage capacity or that the Free State dam can take, right? So how do we do that? Okay, so how are we going to do that? We are going to take that 15,657,000, right? We know that this is obviously this value is 50,657,000. So because we know that it's million, how many zeros are missing here? We are missing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 zeros. Né? And then what do we need to do? You need to multiply it by what you want, which is that 99%. You want to convert that 99% into an actual value. So in other words, that 99% is 99 over 100, or you can say 99%. Right? And then you're going to punch that into your calculator, right? And if you punch that into your calculator, you'll get that you're going to get a value like 1.550043 times 10 to the power of 10, right? So this can be confusing on its own. Okay, what does this mean? This is basically our answer written in scientific notation, right? So all that we need to do is we basically need to now convert that into an actual value, right? So it is an actual value, but we need to write it in a correct way, right? So it's going to be 1550043 times 10 to the power of 10. That times 10 to the power of 10, right? That 10 exponent 10 basically tells that we need to basically have 10 digits after this comma here. We need to have 10 digits, right? So we already know that now we've got 1550043, right? How many digits do we have after this comma? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many more digits do we need to add, right? 4 more digits, right? So we want to add zeros, right? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 10, right? So we're going to actually add 4 zeros because by adding 4 zeros, we're going to have 10 digits after the comma, right? So that is basically now the actual net full storage capacity of the Free State for basically last week, right? So that is basically now our final answer, and we have answered every question, right? That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.